What's up, everybody? This is Gino from the Okie Doke Show. I got a special guest today. We got Derrick from Aurora 44, the game director for ASHEN. We're going to talk to him about this game, play the game, and kind of get some insight about the game and maybe some details about the future of this game as well, too. Derrick, how's it going? Thanks for spending the time with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's get into it. Tell us about this game and what to expect, and maybe some get into the whole world of just kind of freelancing and doing whatever you think. Well, I'll let you talk about
sure,
that.
I can kind of take it away. So Ashen's an action RPG. It's an open world game.
Okay.
We've got high risk, stamina based combat, so it's quite a grueling kind of combat experience. But at the same time, we have passive multiplayer, which lets people connect to each other really seamlessly. Which means, even though it's quite a hard world out there, as soon as you've got somebody else, it gets a lot easier. So essentially, without lobbies and things like that, it is quite an interesting experience. Yeah, I think those are kind of the main points.
Okay, and then the objective of the game is kind of explore and figure out what's happened, and you also say you're going to connect with somebody. Now, do you connect with a group of people or just in one other person?
So we've tailored it right down to a one-on-one experience.
Okay.
It's also purely co-op, so you can't really fight that person or do anything like that.
Okay.
It's absolutely tailored towards finding someone else out in the world and being able to
work together
okay. And kind of explore this world, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to demo the game and you kind of talk and explain as we go?
Sure.
Okay,
good.
Let's do it.
We also wanted to mention that this game was actually featured on Sunday on the Microsoft stage when they rolled out their trailers.
No, we haven't actually connected or anything yet. The connection process is like it's a bit of a different thing. You'll sort of see when it happens. So right now we're completely in single player.
Should we connect or should we just kind of explore right now?
All you have to do is run around and it'll kind of matchmake us and find that we're in the right place in the world, and it'll kind of just pair us off eventually by itself. So we don't actually have to do anything at all, and we'll kind of figure it out.
So it's kind of a fluid multiplayer matching, basically. It just occurs on the back end, something's being done, and then connect to at that point.
Yeah, it sort of just decides that you're like two valid people who could connect to each other, and like here we go. I've just spotted you. So this essentially goes out to the internet and out to our matchmaking server. It finds two people that seem relevant to play together, and it puts you together. And then from there, it's up to you to decide if you want to stick together, or if you just run far enough apart, you'll just disconnect, and that'll be it.
That's really interesting. That's kind of a different take on multiplayer for sure, because I combine with somebody, but if I choose I just want to walk away, I walk away, and then they match you again with somebody else based on some kind of parameters or algorithm that you guys are choosing. Interesting. Like gameplay style or experience or a number of factors?
A number of factors. I mean, a lot of it is just like location, and of course, like how far you are in the game. So, just kind of, yeah. I would say it's sort of like milestones in your progression are really important, and that generally tends to dictate how long someone's played, how much expertise they have with the game. So you tend to get people who are in a similar place matching together quite well.
Okay.
Derrick, can you run through the inventory? Kind of explain a little bit how what am I looking at right here? Like, I see a lot of options here.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you can change your armor, for example. There's a shield slot, there's a utility slot, which we'll find out about later when you get a lantern, and you can use that. You've got one-handed and two-handed weapons that you can choose, so you can switch those on the fly while you're running around the world if you have one of each equipped.
Okay.
There's a water bottle slot, as we'll see. If you run down to the river, you can actually just drink river water right out of the river, and that gives you a stamina buff. But when you do acquire a water bottle, you'll be able to...
You need to do these things to survive during the game, is that right?
Yeah, well, I'd say so. It tends to be a
Okay.
hotspot for like how we get players to even be in the same vicinity to connect with each other. That the
Okay.
rivers and waterways are generally quite hotspots for finding each other, which is quite interesting. And that sort of helps out the whole fluid multiplayer aspect of the game.
So I
yeah.
noticed my bar right here rejuvenated. Can you explain this? The top bar right here.
Yeah, so that's your stamina bar, and that
Okay.
just essentially it just got a 2-minute buff on it. So as you can see, it's kind of gone past its maximum.
Right.
So after 2 minutes, that'll go back down.
Okay.
But if you were to eat a mushroom, which I don't think you actually have any at the moment. I've got some. When you do eat a mushroom, which is our healing item, your stamina actually gets debuffed for a little bit. So the water balances that out. The debuff from the mushrooms is actually only a 10-second debuff, so the water, on the other hand, is a 2-minute buff. But it kind of lets them balance each other out, and it stops you from sort of downing 10 mushrooms during a boss fight all at once. Like, you've got to be a lot more tactical about how you approach things.
Okay.
Resource management. Okay.
Yeah.
So is this?
This guy is an enemy.
Okay. Well, I
think if you just hit the right D-pad, you should pull your weapon out. So that's like sort of the hot swapping of weapons. That if I grab like a two-handed.
So
weapon,
fighting with my fist is at a disadvantage against a guy with a weapon.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see the guy drop something, so I'm gonna go ahead and drink it. Right? Is this?
That's actually just water that you can drink, I think. Yeah,
I'm still
like
near the river,
you're just close enough to the water. So.
Can we talk a little bit about art style here? Because it's a really pretty game. What I guess from inspiration, or what were you guys thinking with the art style?
Sure. So like if you look at the characters' faces, they don't have any. And that was essentially the genesis of our art style. It wasn't even an art choice. It was more about multiplayer and getting people to relate to each other. So like not putting an expression on a character's face, not even having something on your own face, because I can kind of project myself much more easily onto a blank face than I can onto a really art-directed face. Whereas all the other things I get to choose. You can choose your hairstyle, you can choose your hair color, your skin tone, even the armor sets that you're wearing. You can choose all that stuff. But faces feel quite hard programmed into games. So to pull that back a little bit, our art style all started from that, and from the next thing we did right after that was go into making a world that matches this sort of minimalist aesthetic that we had because of that.
Wow, no, that's kind of in this day and age of pores on people's faces and shadowing and everything else, you guys went kind of the reverse approach. And I think to your point, I really like the idea of you said projecting my own appearance on that. Well, if it's a blank canvas, I can see myself. That's really cool. Very good. And so, timing. When does this game come out? I guess let's get to the business of this. When does this game going to hit this console?
This game comes out in 2018. We don't have an exact release date yet, but we are slated for 2018.
All right. Very good.
fun game. Thank you, Derrick.
We appreciate the time. Okie Doke Show coming back at you.
Derrick, thank you. Fun game, man. Very good. No, this is very cool.
Philosophically, very cool. I like that idea.
I like the concept.
You're doing something nobody else is